Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for joining us to celebrate the life of our father. A man who indeed, we don't have to make up what he did. We don't have to try and patch it up or try and think of what to say. Indeed, was a man worthy of emulation. A man with strict principles and guidelines for life. I wouldn't necessarily want to repeat all the things that my sisters said, but to reiterate the fact that truly this was a man of integrity to the core. So much so that when this young man beside me wanted to get married to me, he had to shake in his boots because he knew he was coming to meet a man who would screen him from the head to the toe. So I had done all the preparations. I had prepped my late mom of blessed memory, tried as much as possible to help him be empowered. So she had settled him months even before meeting our dad. But on the big day, I leave that for him to explain. But I'm sure I knew he was shaking in his boots, but he passed anyway. I woke up on the 6th of July, Wednesday. Yes, a totally new era to the beginning of the rest of my life. Daddy has always been so well. He never had any situations or circumstances concerning his health. But he had a recent health scare, which is common to many men, when they say your prostate readings are going high, and therefore you have a chance or high possibility of becoming cancerous, or having prostate cancer. And so, just shortly after my 50th birthday last year, my sisters and I took up a prayer session where we always met, and we still meet, the second Saturday of every month to pray. And one of our main prayer points was Daddy. And we prayed that, Lord, if this thing really going to become cancer, Lord, take him home before this cancer shows in his body. Because we knew what Daddy was like. He's the kind of person who has been described would not sit in one place. At 83, anytime he comes over to stay at ours, he won't leave his teacup for you to wash. He's there washing, he's washing his cup, he's dancing, he's singing, he's humming. But that's his life. Very active. So he wasn't the kind of person who could really mentally survive with a long-term ill health. And so we prayed. But little did we know that God had his own ways of how he would help us to take him out without suffering. And so on the 6th of July, when I woke up and I was told that it had what would be seen as a partial stroke. The partial stroke doesn't take people away. People have had strokes even since then. He can recover the arm if he wants to recover it. He was taken to the hospital in the morning, and we were following up everything. And by evening time, he had given up and said goodbyes and left this world. Daddy is the kind of man who, like my sister said earlier on, everything about him has to be in place. If he has a function to go to or to attend or to behold, all our husbands in the last 6 weeks have been saying, what's happening to the Sam's girls? Because they have just not been sleeping. And we can't help it. It's in our blood. Because Daddy deposited certain things that were just, you can see a little bit of him in each and every of people. And I think that's one thing I gained from him. He can meet with anybody of every age, wherever your background is. And he really continues to demonstrate. One of the things I so much admire in him that I keep recalling is the fact that his ability and his organizational skills to keep important important things even to the end. And as I stand today as a living testimony, in those days, when you were born in UK and yet you went back to your country, may deny you of your British passport. Why? Because even though you carry the British passport with the baby face, if you cannot prove the records that you are from UK, you are born here, they will say to you, no way. And just about the time my husband and I were about to get married, I went and applied for my British passport to help me to return back to the UK. And of course, they said to me, this British passport is just a baby one. What can you prove to show that you were actually born in the UK? So I'm sorry, madam, we cannot grant you your British passport. I was downcast. I went home and I told my dad, so you should have spoken to me. Why did you go, yo? Just went into the inner chambers. He brought out a box full of records, including my baby milk book in UK. And so I took half of the box full to the British Embassy in Lagos. And immediately I dumped it. The woman was like, hands down. When is the British passport going to be out? You're going to receive it in the post. I mean, there are many, many things I could say to you about how Daddy helped because of his skills, organization. Dare I say about the culture that we're born into, where if you're all girls, then you're done for. Many threw at him the idea and suggestion of remarrying so that he can have boys. A man can do, a woman can do even better. And I salute his courage for that. And I want to say to him, women should be in that old school. Please, just take a leap. If God has given you your children, they are arrows in the hands of the Lord, and they will hit their target, whether male or female. I want to thank God because by the time Dad okayed or sanctioned or son, and I truly saw him as his first son, there was a bonding that started. Little did we know that Mommy was going to die few months down the line. And that bonding helped them. So much so that when Mommy died on the 8th of February 1990, when I was here in this country, I was in bed for 7 days, non-stop together, supporting and developing that unity. And I want to thank God because, even though yes, that is straight, that is this, but when he sees one that is his own, in Yoruba they will say, only boy fue. He can bring out everything on the inside of him to give to you. So he saw his son, his pastor's son, not as a son-in-law, but one that God had brought into his life. And I'm so thankful and grateful to God. People say to me, are you not sad? Are you not? I said, apart from that initial cry, each time I think about how he left and the impact and legacy of what is left behind, I'm so proud and honored to be called his daughter. I think it's a big privilege. You don't choose the families you're born into. And I want to thank God to serve and taught his children to love God. And so, Daddy, we love you very much. I will say, may your soul rest in peace.